So now we head to our next panel, which is Carbon Neutrality Strategies Achieving Net Zero Emission Across Data Centers, led by Paul Ma, Executive Editor of W.Media, followed by Riza, Chairman of Indonesia Carbon Trade Association, then followed up by Fadli Heli Tanjung, which is the Head of Environmental Planning for Jakarta Office of the Government Province of DKI, Jakarta, and followed by Chandra Irawan, which is the Country Manager of PureDC Indonesia. Let's put our hands for our four panelists here.
A very, very good morning. All right, leave us a couple of seconds more to get settled down. Are we good? Can we hear each other on the headphones?
Good,
All
good,
right.
good.
Yeah, so you realize that it's actually much more comfortable to speak with the headphone on. So anyway, a very good, actually is it morning? It's afternoon already. Very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for joining us today. And I have with me an esteemed panel of experts who have been in this field. And I'm just going to pass the mic quickly over for them to quickly introduce themselves and what they do. Maybe just 10 seconds each. So is it okay I start from my right-hand side? All right.
Okay. Thank you, Paul, for introduction. My name is Fadli Hali Tanjung. I'm a head environmental planning from the Regional Planning Agency, Jakarta Capital City Government. Currently, we are focusing on addressing mitigation and adaptation actions to reduce climate change impact. And also, we are also preparing the implementation for the carbon pricing in Jakarta. So we are currently encourage our state-owned enterprises to take in charge and start to register their emissions in the carbon market.
Thank you, Paul. Hi, everybody. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Riza Suarga. I'm the chairman of Indonesia Carbon Trade Association. We are a collective carbon project owners and developers across Indonesia, ranging from renewable energy, agriculture, waste management, and also finally the FOLU sectors or forestry and other land use. It's good to be here. Hopefully we will kind of cover a little bit about how we can achieve net zero emission data centers across Indonesia. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chandra Irawan. I'm the country manager for PureDC Indonesia. We operate a hyperscale data center in Europe, GCC, and Asia. We have a facility here in Bekasi. We're running 20 megawatt data center and cater hyperscale customer. I have a long background in oil and gas before I moved to renewables, where I know a bit about carbon trading, and also I joined a data center company since 5 years ago, mainly in operation, and tried to grow the business here in Asia Pacific. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we have a huge topic here, but I will do our best to see what we can cover within the limited time we have. So let's quickly jump into the first question. And how is Indonesia's environmental policy evolving to support and align on carbon neutrality goals? So maybe one of you.
Maybe I could start first. Indonesia has several regulations. I think the first related to carbon or emission reduction or climate mitigation action is the Presidential Decree 98/2021, and it followed by several ministerial decrees from environment and forestry, and also the mineral energy and mineral resources. So basically, the Indonesian government talks about how to set the NDC targets or the nationally determined contributions. So we have a quite aggressive target, emission reduction target by 2030, which is around 834 million tons. So yearly, starting from 2021, it should be around 83.4 million tons per year. And as I have mentioned, it is related to our members also that develop carbon projects. Every sectors have their roadmap. So energy have their certain roadmap, forestry has their certain roadmap, industry, industrial efficiency, agriculture, and waste management. So all of them are being covered, and we are also open up now to the ITMOS, which is the International Transfer Mitigation Outcome, and also we can export our carbon offsets, carbon credits to overseas buyers using corresponding adjustments.
Okay, thank you. If I can add the condition for the Jakarta Capital City Government. Currently, we have this governor regulation number 90 year 2021 regarding low carbon development plan to support the climate resilience in Jakarta. We also have a list of mitigation and an adaptation plan. It was also assisted since 2019, assisted by the C40 cities, and Jakarta Capital City Government is continuing its effort. And we also have achieved to have target to reduce the GHG emission by 30% in 2030 and to becoming net zero emission in 2050. So our main ambitious goal will be earlier than the national target, which is not 2060 or sooner. So we are the sooner one. So we hope that in 2050, Jakarta can achieve the net zero emissions. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, thank you. You want anything, Chandra, or it's okay?
Well, I think net zero carbon is driven by the company policy and also driven by the government for sure. If the government, for example, state that you need to carbon zero 2060 or sooner, that's the deadline basically. Yeah? Our parent company, for example, they reside in UK, so the standard is that they need to be a carbon zero in 2030. So that is our target at the moment because we are affiliate of them. For sure, we need to comply with the regulation. However, I think there are certain differences with the policy in the western part of the world and us, because it is more on stick and carrot. If you don't meet that, you will get hit by a stick. But if you meet that, you'll get some incentive. For example, it's something that I don't see yet in major industry. If you reduce, let's say, 30% of your carbon emission in the next 2 years, what will be the incentive or the benefit to doing so? Because reducing carbon emission is not free. That will involve a capital, that will involve a cost in operation, and I think that basically link with the market as well. If we are getting too expensive, that we will be able to compete in the market. I think that's something that we need to see in the future. How can we work together? For us, I think for data center industry, all of our customer request, can you go zero emission? Yeah, we can, but it will impact the price, and that will be further discussions behind.
You
on
can,
that
but
one.
who will pay for it? Right?
Exactly.
So that's the $1 trillion question. So, but good points here, right? And I guess one of the ways, I mean, someone got to pay for it eventually, but one of the ways we can do that, to make it easier to compute the cost or to go carbon neutral is really carbon credits, right? This is really the second question I have. So, what role can carbon credits and this emerging carbon trading market play in helping data centers to offset emissions while transitioning to cleaner operations?
Yeah, I think the answer is very simple, I guess, to me. If you talk about world's average GDP in compared to government spending, the average is only about 20% out of the world's GDP, meaning 80% is we need private sectors. So climate actions is also the same. You can't rely on government spendings, especially now everybody are taking care of themselves. Trump is already pulled out of Paris Agreement for the second time, meaning they are not really care, quote unquote. So it is up to us, the private data centers providers in this industry, for example. But we have to acknowledge also, secondly, that most data centers now are still using fossil fuels. So, but I think the big boys, I call it big boys like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and all those branded giants, are having a very robust roadmap. Minimum, they're also doing decarbonization, but at the same time, they're offsetting their carbon. So looking at that, this is the good effort, at least showing the market that they are doing something and investing on climate very seriously. So Indonesia, in this case, already have an avenue that enable this kind of trade-off. So we do have very abundant resources, be it the renewable energy resources and also other resources for carbon offsets such as nature-based forestry and other land use. So those in hand can contribute to how the roadmap of data centers in the next future to come.
Okay, maybe I want to add some point regarding the relation between the data center and the carbon itself. So as we all know that data center can consume so much energy when it operated. So regarding the servers will be running non-stop, and there will be equipment cooling and also security systems. So therefore the maintaining of data center is crucial in these aspects, because it's essential pillar to make sure the surface to the surface continuity and the extending of the lifespan of the infrastructure. And besides the maintenance, we also think that the carbon trading market can support the data center offsets in their emissions and transition to cleaner operations. For example, like offsetting emissions and also promoting sustainability.
Okay, I think I just want to add one thing here. For us, carbon credit or renewable energy certificate is, I guess, a temporary solution, how we can decarbonize our operation. What we expect is that we can get, or we can tap directly to renewable energy sources, because renewable energy certificate is something that we see as a black box. We pay and we get certified. Okay, you're running your data center carbon-free electricity supply, but we don't know basically what behind after we pay that. So it's good for sure. I mean, it is a solution for us to decarbonize our operation. However, we need to see how can we expand basically, not only rely on renewable energy certificate, but can we be more active in terms of reducing our own carbon emission. I like what you mentioned previously, that we do the decarbonization effort. For example, we engage with biochar projects. How can we basically decarbonize our operation, not only rely with RSC, but also do external activity that basically help us, then help the world in terms of reducing carbon emission from a data center operation.
Thank you, Chandra. You want to say something?
Yeah, that's what I have mentioned earlier, that this is a combined efforts. That's what Microsoft do. They do the decarbonization part in one set, in one thing, but to transfer or to transform from fossil fuels resources into renewable energy, number one, it takes a lot of investment. Number two, I think they cannot achieve 100% net zero by far, even just using energy, renewable energy alone. I don't know the composition, maybe Paul, you know better, because how much energy composed in the whole portfolio, or in the whole calculation of developing or building one data center. I'm pretty sure it's not 100%. So there are materials that associated with it that even use non-renewable, non-recyclable, etc., etc. So there will be offsets components needed in a way if you want to reach net zero emission. That's number two. Number three, this is also what Microsoft do. When doing the offsets, they will pick and choose the right appropriate carbon projects. They specifically choose removal projects, which is reforestation. Biochar is kind of another removal type of credits. It has associated with co-benefits that associated with how you empower the community. So there is life cycle assessment associated with it as well, and also biodiversity enrichment. So all in all, I think the good data centers in the future, the customers can see, oh, something that comes from Paul's data centers will be the best one to choose. Something like that.
Thank you very much. I wish one day I own a few data centers. That'd be fantastic, right? But in the meantime, so I hear what you're saying, right? And is that there's no one solution to the challenge. We are looking at a diversity of options. I think you're off them. Yeah, from planting more trees for carbon capture to carbon credits as another way, as well as I think Chandra, you mentioned, right, data centers, being more sustainable and doing more on that front. So we just have a couple of minutes left, and maybe Chandra, could you just round off with what can we do in the data center? I mean, I thought we have done all we could, right? Is there more that we could have done?
Yeah, I think carbon emission reduction is always going to three scopes: scopes 1, 2, and 3. Your scope 1 is your direct production of emissions. A data center, usually we don't generate emission, except on some location that we can't tap into utility. Then the data center need to generate their own power. Like our data center in Dublin, where we can't get a utility supply, then they generate their electricity by gas. So, but in other country, usually we'll get the main supply from utility PLN, for example, in Jakarta. And the second is to decarbonize operation from indirect, if we can get from the utility or we can get from the third party provider for utility. And even we need to understand that even we get renewables, we still need to have to offset the carbon emission. Coal is around 1,000 gram per kilowatt hour, gas maybe around 500, and renewables maybe 50 gram per kilowatt hour. So even though we said, oh, we get from solar PV, for example, 100%, that 50 gram of carbon per kilowatt hour need to be offset by carbon credit or maybe carbon offset projects. And then for the data center building itself, before we start, I think we need to design the things that as efficient as possible, because the cleanest energy is energy that we don't use. So if you can get efficiency PUE1, for example, that will be perfect because all the power will be used to power up the servers, right? And then I think the third is how we reduce the embodied carbon of the building itself. I think by use more lower carbon embodied equipment, switch gears, cement, steel, that will also reduce our overall carbon. And at the end, we will do the life cycle analysis, because if you plan to reduce or to eliminate your carbon emission, you need to measure first how much you generate for your operation for life cycle of operation.
In summary, there's a lot of things we need to really sit down and talk about. Maybe not enough for 20-minute session. Maybe need 20 hours to talk through the list. But I always joke that the most efficient or the best, the cleanest data center is the one you don't build, right? But we need them. We need it for our lifestyle. We need it to support our civilization. So maybe one last comment from Fadli, right? You want to add anything before we call off this session? Any session?
Okay, maybe I want to add something about the reforms that needed to accelerate the net zero data centers in Jakarta, for example. First of all, we need to accelerate the integration of renewable energy infrastructure into the Jakarta scale and grid, for example, because this is the import scheme is really under current regulation is limited into certain quota by the PLN in Jakarta. And also regarding the mandate of energy efficiency reporting and improvements for all data center operators is also is really important to have it in the first place, and also to expand like fiscal and non-fiscal incentives for data center. So using whether they can using renewable energy and efficient cooling, they can get some incentives, and also to promote cross-sectoral collaborations with the other stakeholders. For example, in this forum, I'm so glad that we can get connecting with the other key stakeholders regarding the data center and carbon market, and also to develop a local carbon market itself that integrated with the international standards. We in Jakarta should also following the national roadmap that Mr. Riza previously mentioned, that we are currently waiting in certain sector in the ministerial haven't released their roadmap yet regarding the target in the carbon pricing market. So we are in the local government still waiting, and in the meantime we are trying our best to prepare our state-owned enterprises so that can be ready if the time has come. So Jakarta can get Jakarta can participate fully implemented in the carbon pricing market afterwards if the everything's already the systems already happen there, and we trying to get more involved afterwards. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you so much. So that remains a lot of work to be done, but I'm glad we are all here and ready to do the work. Chandra, you want to say something?
Yeah, I think I want to add something. I think it's very, very good news. I think we heard from Fadli there will be incentive if we can get certain part of reduction. I think that's something that we really need to grow this business in Indonesia, because data is a new oil, and it's not going to stop with the coming AI, with the Blackwell chips that it can go up to. Now they have 1 megawatt racks. Google made AI racks 1 megawatt per racks. 5 years ago, it's only about 3 to 5 kilowatt. So we see that the growth of this industry is very huge, and we should not miss this opportunity. And the last thing, I think we don't see a data center is necessarily evil, because we consume a lot of energy, a lot of say carbon emission, but it's more on build our, let's say, civilization. So we can say this is data center for good, and it's more how we can make it sustainable for our future and our descendants.
Thank you very much. And I think this is time for deeper conversation, probably backstage. But thank you very much. Appreciate all your time and appreciate all of you for attending this session. Let's give them, the gentlemen, a big hand, shall we? Thank you very much.